just like that, we are live right now for the Gamrot and the Dan Hooker fight. So obviously, I didn't start the live stream in any of the beginning of the mainstream, the main card, nor the prelims, but we are starting with the Dan Hooker fight, and in between that, we're going to go over what we had seen in the entire card thus far. Obviously, the Rosenstruck and the Tai Tuivasa fight is a highlight here for me. Obviously, somebody in my social media page had asked me, what do I think about this fight? Pre-fight, I said, I'm going to go with Rosenstruck based on the fact that Rosenstruck just seems to be somebody that can be trusted, whereas with Tai Tuivasa, very unpredictable. So it was a decision win for Rosenstruck, and a loss for Tai Tuivasa. Carlos Pratt, amazing knockout of Li Jinglian out of nowhere. Okay, and then in the prelims, Junior Tafa gets a submission over... Walter Walker gets a submission over Junior Tafa. A little bit controversial. People didn't see the tap nor the verbal submission, but it did happen. Talk about controversial. How about Joshua Kalibau and Ricardo Ramos? Very close fight, but it went to Ricardo Ramos nonetheless. Casey O'Neill gets a decision win. Jack Jenkins was about to go to a decision with Herbert Burns, but just decided he was going to empty the gas tank, and as a result, got the finish at the end of the third round. Tom Nolan gets a decision over Alex Reyes. Song Kenan gets a decision over Rick Glenn. And earlier in the night, Stuart Nichols loses by submission against Jesus Aguilar. Very surprising considering he was the undefeated guy going into this fight. But right now, we are focused on Gamrot and Dan Hooker. After that, it's Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg. And then it's Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya right afterwards. So, here we are. All right, so Dan Hooker has now entered the cage, and we are now awaiting the entrance of Gamrot. I think we're going to learn a lot from Dan Hooker in terms of what Israel Adesanya is going to do, because obviously they are training partners, and sometimes what a training partner does in their fight can be very indicative of what they're going to do in their fight. So, all right, yeah, this one's slowing down a bit. I may have to probably, I don't know, maybe I'll just keep this one up. We'll see how this goes. Very interesting. He said that he never gets tired, huh? That's the assessment that they say that they have for Gamrot. I don't know how true that is, but everybody gets tired at some point. But I think the efficiency of what a person is willing to output versus the other person, and also just the kind of style that they're used to. If your entire output is wrestling, right, and you're not used to exhibiting these like intense levels of long periods of time grappling, and you're not used to that, you're not going to get used to a fast pace of a Khabib or a Colby Covington. So that's what it is. All right. Now they're being announced right now. So, all right, Dan Hooker is being announced right now. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Just trying to get, what is this? Just trying to get the thumbnail on this particular channel. Okay, so Gamrot. And Dan Hooker are ready right now. They are about to commence battle. So here we go, round one, Dan Hooker versus Gamrot. Change. There we go. Save. All right. Now we got the thumbnail on the live stream. So here we go. Dan Hooker and Gamrot engaging. Dan Hooker fighting very long switching stances once again, telling you guys that it can be very indicative of what you're going to see out of Israel Adesanya tonight. So what exactly is Dan Hooker doing right now? Switching stances, moving back and forth, circling around, using his jabs, using the mechanics of the range. Look at this, the front kicks, fighting very long, and then switching stances once again. He's going to rinse and repeat this entire process, this entire fight. And what Gamrot needs to do in order to counter that is close the distance, perhaps maybe mix in with some takedowns. Every time Dan Hooker throws a kick, keeping him honest by engaging the kick, catching the kick, or checking it of some sort, or maybe using an openings for an ankle pick. But right now, what Gamrot is doing is really trying to close in the range or trying to cut Dan Hooker off. Body kick thrown by Dan Hooker. Switching stances again. Another body kick attempt by Dan Hooker. All right, here we go. See, so he now closes the distance on Dan Hooker, and as a result, here he is remaining on top, right? Again, the legs. All he needed to do was get close to the legs and once again work his wrestling game, which is what he's doing right now. Now working on a top position, and Dan Hooker is going to have a lot of weight being put on him, which I think inevitably is going to affect his striking mechanics as the fight goes on, especially with all these grappling exchanges that he has to experience. Oh, what was that? Dan Hooker went for a body punch, and out of nowhere, now he's caught in a guillotine. Now he's in a butterfly guard position with Gamrot on top. It's just really aggressive display for Gamrot this current moment of time. Yeah, really good start from Gamrot, in all honesty. I think the aggression is really key in the beginning of the fight. Here it is right now with a body lock position. Sort of lets go of that. Oh, there we go. Oh, Dan Hooker just rocked him. But Gamrot, of course, goes for an ankle pick. Now Dan Hooker is stalking him down. Throwing hooks at him. Cornering him down. Backed up against the cage. Tries to shoot in. Dan Hooker nullifies it. Now they're back in a squared position. And Dan Hooker is looking to corner him up again. Look at this. He tries and goes. He stuffs it. But Dan Hooker is raining some shots from up top. Still, Dan Hooker maintains a top position. He gets right back. Wow. Wow. That was close. That was very close. That was very close. Let me tell you, the way that the other judges have been scoring tonight, you better understand that the scoring can be different in whatever view you have, in whatever perception you have of these fights. Because, I mean, look, by the end of the day, judging is a subjective matter, right? So, who is right, really, and who is wrong? But then there are just some fights where you're just like, okay, you know what? This is clearly obvious. This is clearly obvious in what is wrong, or what is just an infraction of judging or scoring of some sort. So, all right, here we go. Round 3. Round 2. Again, switching stances with Dan Hooker. Really just an absolute technical display on the part of Dan Hooker, except when, once again, brilliant on the part of Gamrot, exploiting the fact that whenever Dan Hooker throws a kick, Gamrot is able to level change, get in his wrestling stance, and go for those legs. It's not a live stream, Rob. I'm live streaming, I suppose. If you're talking about the actual fight, you know that YouTube will ban you for that. So, but I'm watching a fight, so I hope you're enjoying watching a fight somewhere, wherever you are. So, here we are. Gamrot now on side control on Dan Hooker. Now, Dan Hooker can really form a bad habit of just being comfortable in this position. Gamrot can be comfortable just being on top of this particular position right now, in side control, and maybe even half guard if Dan Hooker fights off any type of resistance. But for Gamrot to be on top, he's the one scoring, and he's the one earning the ground control time, whereas it is Dan Hooker that is just looking stale on the bottom, bleeding while getting ground and pounded. But here he is right now remaining in butterfly guard position as Gamrot is trying to improve position, but okay, tries to escape, but then still remains on Dan Hooker on top. right on the cage, but right in front of Eugene Berman, the corner of Dan Hooker as we speak right now. So Dan Hooker is trying to get up while Gamrot has a body lock position on Dan Hooker. And Dan Hooker tries to break away. They break away. Now they are back in a squared up position. Jab by Gamrot. And here we go. A body shot attempt by Dan Hooker. So once again, yeah, the fatigue of Dan Hooker is a result of the wrestling pace that Gamrot was putting on earlier. There it is, a front kick by Dan Hooker. And there it is, Dan Hooker's hunting him down. But Gamrot, I think, is looking to level change again. There it is, right there. Just as I had told you, but wow. Good job and good scramble on the part of Dan Hooker to recognize that neck is right there every time Gamrot shoots in. That is one of the things that you can always count on when a wrestler tries to shoot in on you, is knowing that you can grab a hold of a guillotine that is open for you to use. And as a result, this is the position that we are witnessing right now. And here comes Dan Hooker battering away with some elbows from the top. And now Gamrot is continuously grinding and taxing the energy system of Dan Hooker. Just constant pressure, which once again, I think is going to alleviate a lot of the striking power that Gamrot may have expected out of Dan Hooker. And of course, Dan Hooker, he wants to play his game. He did a very good job of sort of revealing what him and Izzy have been working on all throughout camp. There it is, good elbows from the top. Okay, there it is. It's the end of the round right there. All right, that is the end of the round. Yeah, Dan Hooker's face is messed up right now. Oh, wow. As Dan Hooker is being instructed by his corner, saying, hey, listen, somewhere along the lines of, hey, stop getting hit. He's saying, hey, you know what? I love this ish, aha. Like just really giving a psychotic macho display response to sort of a crisis that he's experiencing right now. And Dan Hooker is sort of coping with what is going on of his face getting battered. But I tell you what, I think sometimes that coping will help, but we're going to see right now in this round if that pertains to this situation. Let's see. So there's Dan Hooker right now opening up. But Gamrot sort of a little bit with the volume. There's Dan Hooker sort of opening up right there with some 1-2s, body kick. Every time he goes for that kick, Gamrot is there ready to shoot his levels down. But then there it is. The constant scrambles of Dan Hooker is a threat to Gamrot's wrestling, but Gamrot also happens to be the most successful one in implementing the wrestling. Whereas with Dan Hooker, he's constantly just on the defense when it comes to the grappling exchanges. And in turn, sort of inhibiting his abilities to strike the way that he wants to. See, now look at right now. He's swinging wild. Whereas in the beginning of the round, it's in fair contrast to the technical approach that he had sort of taken. And now, because he's put in a situation where a high lactic acid has been built up in his muscles due through the grappling exchanges of Gamrot, he now has to strike in a very different manner. He's still aware of his striking methodology and how he's going to go about this situation. But at the same time, man, this is just a third round. He's trying to get through 3 minutes of this. And Gamrot, you got to understand, is also feeling this as well. But right now, it is Dan Hooker that is walking down Gamrot. And sometimes the tides can turn depending on your foot placement of the cage and how you're going to control the ring generalsmanship of the entire fight's rhythm. All right, so a little 2.5 minutes left. There it is. He shoots in once again. Oh, wow. And then Dan Hooker stuffs it. One-two shot by Dan Hooker, still walking him down even after all of the damage. And again, sort of really rallying himself into victory. Because at any given moment, if Gamrot was to make a mistake at any of these exchanges, you better believe that Gamrot could get knocked out. Here's Dan Hooker right here. Once again, susceptible to having that single leg exposed, because there's two common habits that was happening here in this fight, right? Every time a kick was thrown in a lazy manner to where Gamrot sort of timed it, he went for a single leg right away, and every single exchange, a single leg was really helpful for him, right? But every time he shot in, Dan Hooker would counter with what? A guillotine of some sort, and here they are back into the grappling exchanges again. With Dan Hooker on top, still banging away some elbows with literally 17 seconds left. Now hitting him with elbows from the back. And once again, in the single leg position, but this time, he pushes it away, and he's pushing down on Gamrot right now, and that is the end of the fight. All right. So great fight between Dan Hooker and Gamrot. Who wins it? Look, in all honesty, Gamrot is the one that's going to win it. Wrestling wins fights. The damage that he had taken, I think, is significant enough for the judges to see it in more rounds for Gamrot than for Dan Hooker. And I got to tell you, Dan Hooker, once again, very indicative of what we're going to see out of Israel Adesanya tonight. So you got to remember, what's great about having a training partner being in the same card as you is that everybody can get to see a glimpse of what you're going to do, the main event fighter. So what did we see out of Dan Hooker? Stance switching. Not only that, he went and used the range, used some front kicks to even further his range. But once again, just like the main event tonight, Dricus could do exactly what Gamrot did. So now let's find out the decision for this fight as we await for the judges. All right, so now we await the judge's decision right now. All right, Dan Hooker and Gamrot are now set in the center as we await the judge's decision on this one. All right, here we go. Gamrot, I think, is going to take this one. Saudi sold their soul to MBS. Oh my goodness, Dan Hooker won. Wow, that right there is an absolute insane decision right there. Good job for Dan Hooker. 13th Assassin says Saudi have sold their soul to MBS. He's like, God, okay, all Muslim. Wow, yeah. Hookah, Savachi Financial says Hookah, Dan Hookah. Wow. Hey, you know what? None of us are judges, so smoke some hookah for hookah. Australia, they love their guys. So what are you suggesting, 13th Assassin? Are you suggesting that Dan Hooker got the hometown Canelo decision, perhaps? Because look, you heard what I said in all throughout the stream. I was saying, man, Gamrot had this one, even though he's a New Zealand guy. What happened to the judge? They removed one? I don't know. I don't know if they did something to the judge or whatever. Gamrot looked weak. You know what? Gamrot looked better in the wrestling department. But for whatever reason, maybe these judges just don't respect the wrestling. He said he wants it all. He wants the BMF belt. Hooker neutralized the wrestling. You know what he did? I think he stuffed a lot of those. If we really can give it a lot of credit to Dan Hooker and the way that he was exchanging in those scrambles. I think that he was stuffing a lot of those takedowns that has to be taken into consideration. So next is the co-main event. Yeah, because they were training for Islam. Yeah. I think, speaking of Islam with Volkanovski, Carlos Ulberg, that's the training partner of Israel Adesanya. Man, I got to be honest. I thought Gamrot won that fight, guys. You know, I know that a lot of people are happy for Dan Hooker. I'm happy for Dan Hooker, but I got to be honest in the way that I saw that fight as I was calling it live stream right here. I really thought Gamrot won that fight. But Savachi Financial brought up a very good point. He neutralized his wrestling. He did. Because you know what? Here's the thing, right? You can only wrestle for so long until, like, it's just a limp effort. You know what I'm saying? Like at what point is your offense really useful if you're not really doing any. Wrestling don't mean ish if it's neutralized. Yes, correct. Because I tell you what, man, if Khabib wanted to take you down, he'll take you down with no controversy. John Jones could take you down with no controversy. Chael in his prime could take you down with no controversy. He just kept grabbing his leg. That's right. And Dan Hooker, in the eyes of another judge, could be seen as, you know what, my man, you did a very good job. So, and you were landing some strikes on top. So that's also very important to sort of take into consideration as well. Those strikes on top, I think, really helped for Dan Hooker. So I could see an argument for Dan Hooker, but at the same time, I think there was ground control time. He could that could be a setup. Let him take you down. Not for Dan Hooker, because Dan Hooker did a very good job at maintaining a butterfly guard position. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's literally like having your feet in between the legs of your opponent in order to push them out with a certain leverage from the ground, or maintain a certain position where it would be difficult for them to posture up, or it would be difficult for them to lean on you from the top position. So Dan Hooker did a good job of that from fighting it off the ground. But the submission defense and the submission offense, I think, of Dan Hooker has to be taken into consideration. The guillotine attempts, the constant chokes, and then on top of that, the top positions that Dan Hooker also maintained. So I think, yeah, I think there's an argument for that. So, all right. So I think we are awaiting right now the co-main event of the evening. So be right back. All right, so we are back right now with Kai Kara France in the co-main event, as we are witnessing Steve Erceg walking out right now. The former Eternal MMA champion. I believe that is an organization that is local within that region of some sort. So here we go, Steve Erceg. They call him Astro Boy. I wonder what is the reasoning behind that name. He does kind of strike me as sort of like this computer expert, IT tech type of dude that would solve your technical problems on your Mac computer or Dell laptop or whatever type of software you have going on, or any type of data issues that you may have. That's the type of stilo that I sort of get out of him, I suppose, right? But either way, he is fighting Kai Kara France, a big name in the Australia side of the UFC and the 125 division, to be exact. Former title challenger at that. And Steve Erceg is also a former title challenger, very early in his career, mind you. So let him take you down. Who you got? Kai versus Kai. I think I would be a little bit too big for Kai Kara France. But I think Kai Kara France will have a really good shot of taking down Steve Erceg in this fight right now. So wow. He 6 months no contact. I think there's something to that, right? I think there's some smart aspects to taking a time off of not allowing your brain to get rattled all the time. I think there's something that's inconducive to your long-term career in that type of path, but here we go. So, by the way, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, as I am giving you guys an improv live stream of this particular event. But I wanted to cover it because it is what we cover here as MMA first and foremost. Watch from beginning to end. In the beginning of the stream, I talk about the entire card and what had went down, some of my thoughts about it. And right now we are in the co-main event slot of the evening right now with Steve Erceg taking on Kai Kara France. So don't forget to like and subscribe as I cover this live stream for you with Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis in their historic rivalry that we are about to witness. And maybe a rivalry of their own right here in the 125 division between Kai Kara France and Steve Erceg. High-level MMA at its best. Well, regional and local within their proximity. So here we go. 29, Steve Erceg. 31, Kai Kara France. 5'8", a little bit of a reach there. 5'4", reach virtually the same. But Kai Kara France is a little bit shorter. I see Steve Erceg at some point of this fight switching levels, sort of switching the striking aspect. And, well, I think that there's going to be a lot of clinches in the part of Steve Erceg, especially in the close range. I could see a lot of that happening. I could see Kai Kara France circling around in the beginning of this fight while he is trying to sort of negotiate his range against a taller fighter in 5'8" Steve Erceg. So right now, Steve Erceg is being announced, and we are awaiting the announcement of Kai Kara France, and then we're off and running. What a name, Astro Boy. All right, here we go. Kai Kara France is being announced. Once again, 11 losses, but not a very big deal in the world of MMA as it would be in boxing, unless, of course, you're a name like Derek Chisora, who, by the way, has equally a record that looks very similar to Kai Kara France and Jorge Masvidal and even Nate Diaz, but still is a very exciting fighter nonetheless that people want to see come back. And Kai Kara France is no different. This is going to be a banger right here. Watch, in the beginning of this fight right here, I predict that they are going to have an explosive sequence of events as time permits. Here we go. Round one, co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Don't forget to like and subscribe as I gave you guys a random improv to how Booth gave all 3 rounds to Tai Tuivasa. I don't know, man. They removed him as a judge. Oh, they did? Is that official? Like they really did? All right, here we go. Kai Kara France. See, once again, was I correct? Kai Kara France is circling around right now, as I had mentioned. And Steve Erceg, let's see what he'll response to the circling of Kai Kara France, as I had predicted he would do right here. Both look very calm, especially Steve Erceg. Not to underestimate the calmness of Kai Kara France, a little bit on the wiry side, but nonetheless, still very effective in the way that he handles the pressure in these high-level events, especially the fact that both of these guys are former title challengers. So that remains to be seen if Kai Kara France can really close the distance, as I had mentioned earlier. But the fact that he is a shorter fighter, you better believe Kai Kara France is reliant on explosivity in order to get these shots in. See, once again, what did I tell you in the beginning? Constant circling. Why? Because he's a shorter fighter, and as a result of his height discrepancy, this is how he has to try to mitigate the range that is in front of him. Whereas with Steve Erceg, all he's trying to do right now is really try to close Kai Kara France right in. Notice the feet of Steve Erceg where he had thrown the front kick earlier, the lead front kick. Right? Notice where he is stepping it. Where he is stepping it is where he is planning on his attack, you see? As he is trying to close Kai Kara France in, Kai Kara France is trying to circle around in order to prevent that. You see, these are some of the metrics that many people, bro, Adesanya or Plessis, who, I tell you what, I think that it's going to be a hard fight. You know what? I think Israel Adesanya can win it by points. But I think, you know what, man? I'm going to be honest with you right now. I'm going to have to go with Dricus du Plessis. My live prediction right now. Shout out to Zayn Musa Boxing Dosage. One of the hottest boxing channels in the UK. Tapping into the live stream right now. That's what's up, man. As we are witnessing Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg right now. With just about under 2 minutes left. Dricus is going to beat Adesanya. You know what, Savachi Financial? I'm going to have to agree with you, man. So, Zayn Musa asked me who I think. Right now, I'm going to have to say Dricus, and Savachi Financial agrees with me, and I agree with Savachi Financial, and I'm going to tell you why right now. he got in Adesanya's head. And here's the thing, right? I don't think that's going to be indicative of this fight, but I'm going to tell you what will be indicative of this fight in terms of why Dricus has a great chance of winning. Number one, before we talk about why I think he's going to win, let's talk about the height discrepancy that I think is very... Oh! Kai Kara Francis knocked down Steve Erceg. He's looking for the finish right now. Now he's back up again, and he's looking to regain himself. But Kai Kara France got him. Kai Kara France got the finish. There it is. Kai Kara France got the knockout. He got the knockout. So far, it's been a great night for City Kickboxing tonight. That fool cried when his puppy unalived, Sabachi Financial said. So, all right. Now that fight is over, let me tell you why I think Dricus has a great chance of winning. But first, let me talk about his height discrepancy, because I think that's going to be the only difference of the victory against Dricus du Plessis. So in other words, I think that what is going to win, Kai wins. Yeehaw. All right. So what I think is going to be very important for Dricus du Plessis tonight is his pace, his wrestling, his constant pressure of close range attacks. So once those close range start bursting in, it's going to be very difficult for Israel Adesanya to implement his game plan in the range. But keep in mind, I had mentioned to you guys that think about the height discrepancy of Dricus du Plessis, because that's the only thing that's going to change and alter anything in this fight. Other than that, I think the pace is going to be too much for Israel Adesanya. But if Israel Adesanya picks him apart, it's only going to be because of the fact that Israel Adesanya has the height, the reach, and the advantage when it comes to range. Because Dricus, what he relies on is sheer attributes. Training in the heat, training in high altitude, training in 110-degree weather in South Africa. He relies on that, a lot of grit. So this is also why a lot of his techniques don't look as crisp as Israel Adesanya's, because he relies a lot on his fitness rather than his technical skills. But it is very deceptive, because those fitness and attribute levels that Dricus has can really cause problems to a technical machine. And it's not the first time that we've seen that out of Israel Adesanya. We've seen Sean Strickland push the pace on him. And I think in the middleweight division, what is really important is being able to push the pace. If you're a fighter that can push the pace, I think you're a fighter that is going to win all the time. But more importantly, every division, I think, is all about pushing the pace. Cain Velasquez, greatest heavyweight of all time. And as a result of that, guess what? In his prime, nobody can stop him. Bilal Muhammad, right now, in his current prime, his pace is just so overwhelming that it breaks a lot of guys that may be talented in other areas that Bilal may not be, but due to the pace, it really changes and alters the result and the landscape of the fight. And I think that's what we're going to see out of Dricus du Plessis tonight. But we shall see. So there it is, right there. He was chasing him down with those overhand rights, and then out of nowhere, he lands right on the chin, and it was all she wrote from there. It was a great finish by Kai Kara France, and now we are going to head into the main event. He asks, who should we fight next for the title? I tell you what, at 125, I think all you need is one impressive performance. And after that performance, you can call your shots. And if you have a rivalry with a champ of some sort, I think that would be even better. Oh man, but I tell you what, I think that the UFC really made a mistake of not re-signing Muhammad Mokaev. But I tell you what, the UFC is never permanent in their decisions when it comes to endeavors like this. Because I could foresee a future where Muhammad Mokaev would, let's say, be successful in other organizations, grab belts and championships, and as a result of that, also create, let's say, a legacy elsewhere that is undeniable, to which the UFC now has to respond. But what we're talking about with a timeline like that for Muhammad Mokaev having to, I guess, accumulate all these accolades outside of the UFC, I think is going to take us up until he's 30 years old, until he can re-sign back to the UFC, given the accomplishments that we are looking for him to do beyond the UFC, right? Because the reason why Fedor was considered one of the greatest of all time back in the days was because he did extraordinary things, but it was outside of the UFC. But one can argue that Pride, if you really think about it, is the UFC, because at one point the UFC had already bought Pride. So anybody that fought in Pride realistically fought in the UFC and should be counted as a UFC fight. So what do you guys think? If you fought in Pride, should it count as a UFC fight? And I think that it should. You know what? Donald Cerrone, the majority of the fights that he accumulated were all from WEC. So I want you to keep that in perspective. The majority of the fights that Donald Cerrone accumulated was through WEC. And because WEC had already been bought out by the UFC, as a result of that, they just added those fights in, including Anthony Pettis. He was also a WEC vet. All the guys that fought in WEC, they all got the stats added to their UFC statistics and overall fight percentage. So here we go. We are now watching the promo of Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis going back. And by the way, guys, check out all the videos that I have of this, right? Real epic type of videos in terms of going over the racial politics of South Africa. I mean, we really delve into those particular topics and subjects. On top of that, we go over fight storylines, like why didn't certain fights win? Why didn't certain fights take place? Why did certain fights have to fall out? All of these things. Check it out. Check out all the videos that I have for this. I make the type of videos where not only are they relevant for the fight week and for the time being of when that fight is going to happen, but I make them relevant even in the future. Check out all the videos that I have with Canelo versus David Benavidez. Obviously, David Benavidez has yet to have happened against Canelo. Canelo is facing Berlanga. Hey, I might be here live for the Berlanga fight. You never know. Come check me out. Like and subscribe. I will be here covering all the top fights and all the exciting events, inshallah. So here we go. We are now witnessing the main event promo. Here's Sean Strickland beating Israel Adesanya. I've made a lot of big videos on that. How about Nazi Champ? One of my classic videos on this channel. Check that out. Right? All the crazy comments from the Sean Strickland supporters that were in that video or in the comment section of that video. Check it out. And in the video itself, just right after Sean Strickland had defeated Israel Adesanya. So here we go. We are now in the main event slot. Dricus is being announced. Dricus is And then there's Izzy. Real interesting that Izzy is coming off of a loss, right? Do you guys think that the UFC did a good job of sort of hiding the fact that he's coming off of a loss? I think they are. I think they are. By the way, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm not going to be in this stream much longer. Once this fight is over, I am out of this stream. And yeah, I really didn't plan on coming on live tonight. But you know what? I'm very thankful for all of those that have been able to tap in with me tonight, even with just a short notice like this. Of course, had I planned it out, I think I would have been able to get a little bit more people in here. But nonetheless, it's still fight party, and we are here for the main event as we are about to witness the walkout of Israel Adesanya, because I assume Israel Adesanya is going to walk out first due to the fact that he is the challenger. And Dricus du Plessis, well, he is the champion. And we would never imagine that we would be looking at the dynamics of this fight in that particular matter. But here we are. So here we go. Israel Adesanya is about to walk out right now. What is this that Israel Adesanya is walking out to? It sounds some sort of... I can't really play it too loud for you guys, obviously, due to the copyright reasons, but yeah, nonetheless, here we go. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, as we are going to witness the main event of the evening. Here we go. Within the 1 hour mark of this live stream, we will now be entering Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis in the 1 hour point of this live stream. Right now, we are at the 59-minute mark of the live stream. If you are watching this in the future, if you are watching this live, we are right now 9:17 p.m. in the West Coast as we are witnessing Israel Adesanya walk out morning or afternoon time in Perth, Australia, as the challenger. First time in the gold gloves, because obviously now all the the UFC, well, yeah, MMA obviously, but the top MMA company of the world, the UFC, every time they have a championship fight, it is with golden gloves. What happened to the fancy walkout? I think that Israel Adesanya wanted to be a little bit more reserved. I think him having custom-made shorts that you see right now was good enough for him. He knows that he's the challenger, so it's a different mentality than as opposed to being a champion. If he was a champion, I think he would do some sort of Black Panther Marvel walkout of some sort. Fu used to dancing and ish on the walkout. For real. Yeah, man. But this time, I think Israel Adesanya's mental trajectory is that of a challenger. If you remember Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3, when he first lost to Clubber Lang, Mr. T, he lost. He went and trained with Apollo Creed. He went and trained in L.A. in an all-black hood. He brought Paulie with him. Paulie said a bunch of racial remarks to the local people of that region and that part of LA, but either way, Rocky was in a different mindset. It wasn't all about dancing or the circus or the type of fanfare he had going on in his open workouts before the first Clubber Lang fight. It was all about business. And Israel Adesanya right now is sort of putting himself in that mental trajectory. Whereas with Dricus, I think this is his time to shine. This is his time to show why he is a marketable champion. And let's see what kind of walkout he's going to do right now as we are witnessing this in the 1 hour and 1 minute and 45-minute mark of this live stream. for those that are watching this in the future. So from what it sounds like, Dricus is coming out to some kind of South African music of some sort, some kind of ballad, what I would presume it would be. It sounds like someone singing, so... All right. There's Dricus right there with his team. From what it looks like, I think he is walked out by 2 South African athletes. I think one guy is either a soccer player or a rugby player, or a combination of 2 rugby players that are from South Africa. So the way that you would compare this is in similarities to, let's say, an American athlete that would come and walk out of there with Gronkowski or Tom Brady, or maybe somebody like Shaquille O'Neal or LeBron James, or whoever these guys want to tie themselves into with other athletes outside of the sport. You look at Khabib with his relationship with Ronaldo. Even McGregor has had a sort of friendship with Ronaldo in some kind of way, although in recent times sort of looks strange in the way that he was giving off a certain weird body language, like he didn't want to be around McGregor during one of the Saudi boxing cards. If you guys remember one of those famous memes or famous videos that's floating around there in the reel or the shorts world, the reel and the shorts world. So here's Dricus right now, dapping up all his teammates, getting ready to take off his gear and enter the cage, get lubed up in the face, pause. It's one of those requirements. It's sort of a way to prevent you from getting cut so early in the fight. And if you were to get cut, it would prevent the cut from going into your eye. So that is the reason behind the gel that they put on you. All right, so now Dricus is in full gear. Trainer's putting his mouthpiece right in. All right, here we go. Dricus du Plessis. He said that he's always looking to outwork everybody in the gym. Right. And I'm telling you, this right here is what is going to change the entire pace of the fight. But, again, it's easier said than done, because remember what I said earlier. What you got to watch out for is Israel Adesanya's height. Look at the length. Look at the size of Israel Adesanya. On top of that, he knows how to use it because he is a high-level kickboxer in the highest order. So what that means is that he is going to use it in the most effective manner with the biggest advantage that he has going on. By the way, for those that are tapped in, I wanted to show you this. This was a bronze medal that I won in a domestic tournament when I was 12 years old. Right here, October 11th, 1997, 12 years old, when I won this bronze medal in a domestic-wide tournament in Union, New Jersey. Right here. And of course, among other training endeavors I've had with some top MMA fighters around Sacramento, such as TJ Dillashaw, Uriah Faber, Idris Wasi, Angelo Trevino, who else? Chad Mendez, obviously. Man, it's a haven of mixed martial arts over here in Sacramento. But right now, we are witnessing mixed martial arts at the highest level. Right now, as we speak, 1 hour and 7 minutes into this live stream, Bruce Buffer is about to finish the announcement, and we are about to commence battle soon. But right now, he is saying in Perth, Australia. He's going to say it's time right now. 1 hour, 7-minute mark. It's time. You can mark that on the timestamp. 1 hour, 7-minute mark. It's time. There it is. Dricus looking right across, taking a deep breath, knows what's at stake. Israel Adesanya looks very serious, very calm, very well-mannered, but also start. Mandeep Gurang says start. Start what? No, it hasn't started yet. They're still being announced right now. Shout out to everybody that's around the world. Hey, hit that like button. Also, hit the subscribe button for those that haven't yet. Bro, what's going on? Israel Adesanya is about to fight Dricus du Plessis, and I am live right now. So like and subscribe as we cover probably the most controversial 185-pound fight in the history of the UFC due to the racial implications that this fight has going on. And by the way, with the many videos that I've covered on it, Izzy for the W, it's a Simon C says. All right, let's see. Here's Dricus right now. By the way, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. As soon as this fight ends, I'm going to cut the live stream. This was an impromptu live. But, hey, you know what? Getting some good numbers for a small channel right now with some people tapped in around the world. So let's get to it. Let's get to it, guys. Like and subscribe. And we are now going to witness Dricus and Israel Adesanya. Here we go. He has now been announced. Dricus has been announced. Israel Adesanya has been announced. They are now in the middle of the octagon. All right, there it is. 1 like. Can I get another like? Give me another like. Another subscription. Another subscription. Here we go. They sort of shake hands in a weird way, but not really. Here we go. We got people tapped in from around the world. There's another like. Hit another like. There we go. While we witness the live reaction to Israel Adesanya now facing. There it is, another like. Hit another like. There it is, another subscribe. Now facing each other in a very similar fashion, right? Stance low, sort of like John Jones in a wrestling position. By the way, this is a great stance to really start. You want to know why? Because MMA is really predicated on being able to switch levels up and down, right? In a fighting, striking position, all the way down to a grappling position. And that type of stretch that you do when you start out like that on the ground is very good for you. Now, there it is. Israel Adesanya switching stances once again. Just like what I said earlier in the fight with Dan Hooker. What Dan Hooker was going to do is going to be very predicated on what Israel Adesanya is doing. And what is Israel Adesanya doing right now? Exactly what we had just mentioned. Switching stances. Not only that, Israel Adesanya is being very mindful of his range. Whereas with Dricus du Plessis, he's throwing some good leg kicks. And as a result of that, we know that he's damaged a lot of people with leg kicks. And he's going to continue trying to find the right range to do that, but also find the right time and place to apply pressure on Israel Adesanya. Like right now. So he got low kicked, and as a result, he goes and he tries and lunges right back in as some sort of pressure. Will Israel Adesanya find a way to somehow maybe use some sort of counter shot? Show the screen. Vape Juice says, no, I cannot, my brother, only because it is against YouTube policy, and as a result, it will get the channel shut down. But what you can do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, while I give you a play-by-play of what is going on. So maybe if you're not fortunate enough to watch the fight live right now, I could give you a play-by-play. Israel Adesanya gave him a jab while Dricus was throwing a high kick. He fakes a high kick, and now he's sort of pawing his jab forward right at Dricus. So from what I'm seeing right now, I think that Israel Adesanya is really going to make this a slow night for Dricus. And Dricus is doing a good job of stance switching as well. Now Izzy is doing a great job as well of throwing low kicks of his own. And what's great about him switching stances is that Dricus is going to really think twice about throwing that kick. That low kick. Okay, he throws a body kick right there. That's good. But he's going to be very reluctant because it's going to be harder to throw them and catch Israel with it while he's switching the stances. And also, he's not going to sustain and be consistent with the same amount of damage as he would be if he was hitting the same leg over and over again. So Israel Adesanya is doing exactly as planned and exactly as business. Oh, what happened here? So he tries and goes, but then he gets stuffed. Look at Israel Adesanya looking very Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez-esque in his striking approach right now. Switching stances once again. Body kick by Israel Adesanya. Shout outs to everybody that's tapped in around the world. Like and subscribe as we are witnessing this live stream right now while Dricus is going for those low kicks right there as we are witnessing this fight live. Come on, hit that like button as we are seeing Israel Adesanya work his jab. There's Dricus right there with a high kick. 120 left in the first round of this epic matchup that we are witnessing right now. Low kick by Dricus. Catches. Oh, that's a nice one by Dricus right there. Another low kick by Dricus right there. Ooh. See, Dricus is constantly aiming for that high kick, but to no avail. And while he throws that kick, Israel Adesanya just goes back and does the same thing with throwing body kicks. So far, 40% striking percentage on Adesanya, 20% for Dricus du Plessis. Oh, nice body shot, body work by Israel Adesanya right there. A body punch while we're at it. Oh, nice high kick by. That is the first round right there. I got to give that to Israel Adesanya for the first round. What do you guys think? Like and subscribe as we are witnessing the first round going into the second round. And for that first round, I'm going to give it to Israel Adesanya, fair and square. It was Israel Adesanya for that one right there. Yeah, Israel Adesanya for sure won that first round right there. All right, we got more people tapping in while we are witnessing this main event right now. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. After this main event is done, I will cut out and I will go from here. Right now, we are witnessing round 2 of this championship fight between Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya. If this continues this way, it could be a win for Israel Adesanya, and Dricus has to pull off some sort of miracle in a way where he bum rushes him or catches him off guard in some kind of capacity. But either way, here we go. Round 2, here we go, guys. Low kick by Israel Adesanya. Dricus got a Iran Izzy. Yeah, that's... I know exactly what I mean. He has to... He's got to throw a lot. He's got to throw the heavy stuff on him. And he is trying to do that, but at the same time, Israel Adesanya is really doing a good job of mitigating a lot of danger. See, a lot of these stance switches, a lot of these jabs, a lot of these low kicks that he's matching. Because remember, Dricus That's what Dricus needs to do right there. And that's what Israel needs to be very careful. But look at Israel Adesanya's takedown defense. Okay, he did get taken down there. That's sort of, in the wrestling world, a point for Dricus du Plessis right there. But Israel Adesanya, there it is. He's really going for that choke. He's caught a lot of dudes in this position during his regional title days when he was the double champ at the EFC organization. And right now, he's got Israel Adesanya in a very bad spot. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, wow. Dricus now has his back. Look at this. Oh, no. He's got it. Oh, no. No. Oh, Israel Adesanya scrambles out. Very good job. Now, there it is. Now, Israel Adesanya squared up with him again, cornering him up against the cage. There it is. Front kicks. Okay. Keep going. Yeah, he's no complaints there. All right, there it is. There it is. Israel Adesanya's looking for the finish right here. He senses blood right here. There's some blood that he's sensing right here. Switching stances. I think he's noticing Dricus is sort of fatiguing right now. Dricus is fatiguing right now. Oh, no. Dricus is backing up. Either that or he's playing possum. Oh, what is this? He goes for an ankle pick, but then he gets the back of Israel Adesanya in the middle of these scrambling exchanges. So now Dricus has a body lock on Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is holding on to the cage. That's illegal. The referee doesn't see it, just like professional wrestling at its finest. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe as we are witnessing this epic matchup unfold right now in the second round as Dricus du Plessis has the body lock on. Oh, he's got a backpack. Oh, he's attempting to. Now he's going for a knee. Now he's... Good job on Israel Adesanya stuffing these takedowns. Crotch hugging. Yeah, that's exactly what du Plessis needs to do right now because Israel Adesanya got him good a few times there. But now Dricus is doing a really good job of neutralizing Israel Adesanya here. This is exactly where you would want to tell Dricus to be if you were his coach right now, especially in the vulnerable positions that Israel Adesanya got him in the striking positions. But now, yeah, like what my man Savachi Financial here said, hugging for dear life, because there's a strategy behind it. He's regaining himself from getting rocked a few times, and not only that, scoring points while we're at it, taking his back like this, maintaining this body lock position, and not only that, probably get the backside of Israel Adesanya if he can help it. All right, there we go. Now he's got the back of Israel Adesanya. Oh, this is really good. This is very similar to what Sean Strickland did to him from the backside when he had him in the body lock position. Now, I think what Israel Adesanya is going for here is either a 2-on-1 lock position with his arms. That is what he needs to do, actually. He needs to go 2-on-1 with one of Dricus's arms in order, or go for a judo hip toss right here, which is very good on the part of Israel Adesanya right here, and he maintains stuffing Dricus du Plessis from that position, and now he maintains just staying right behind the cage, getting grinded on. Which, by the way, these are points for Dricus more than it is for Israel. All right, round two, I'm going to have to give the Dricus du Plessis on that one. Even though, no, you know what? I'll still give it to Izzy just based on him rocking him on that one. So, I'm going to give it 2-zip Izzy right now. Izzy is winning this by 2-zip. What do you guys think? Write on the comment section below on the live chat, but also hit the like button as you guys are witnessing the most epic 185-pound championship of all time right here. Nah, you think that Dricus won that one? A Savachi Financial? Dricus got round 2. Okay. So you see how every person may look at it differently, right? This is how a lot of these judges may see it. He manhandled him. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? Hold up. As I'm watching his replay right now, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I may have to agree with you on this one. Yeah, you know what? I hope the judges get to see replays because when you see the replays, it will really alter your mindset on how you saw the fight. Now, here comes Izzy right now maintaining the range with Dricus du Plessis. Going for oblique kicks right there with Dricus. A little too late. He could have done that earlier in the fight to sort of close his range with Israel Adesanya, but also use those oblique kicks as a way to sort of get his knees out there to check the kicks and whatnot. But once again, Israel Adesanya is doing a very good job of maintaining his range. That is until Dricus either catches a leg and goes for an ankle pick of some sort or, yeah, takes him down. Ooh. There it is. He goes for a jab and then a punch to the body, and Dricus just responds with some wild hooks. There it is. Israel Adesanya constantly stance switching over and over again. There, from that stance switch, he goes for a high kick, and it stance switches again. So you got to understand, all these stance switching that Israel Adesanya does can really cause a lot of confusion for Dricus du Plessis. But if Dricus du Plessis gets close and out-wrestles him the way that he did in the beginning of the second round, I mean, that's where the game changer is the game changer of it all. But right now, Israel Adesanya is doing what Israel Adesanya does in the middle of this third round as we speak. And to be fair, each round being judged and scored individually by its own merit. So there it is, faking with his hips, doing those fake hips that he does where he makes it look like he's throwing a kick, but then in reality he cocks back and throws a jab at you. And sort of leaving his hand out there as sort of pawing it to keep Dricus at bay, as sort of like a stick. Ooh, spinning back elbow, John Jones-esque. And a nice high kick right there. So, oh, but then he catches that one from Dricus. Just a little over 2 minutes left in the third round right now. Oh, wow. He rocks Izzy right there. Izzy felt that one. He's circling around. I can't believe we are finally witnessing Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya, and it's everything that I imagined this would be. But he needs to complete this takedown right here, because if not, then you got to give this round to Izzy. Izzy stuffed that takedown right there. Oh, nice hook right there by Izzy. Ooh. Oh! Oh, okay, that was a trip. That was a trip. Even in the boxing world, they would consider that a trip, a slip, and not a knockdown to any degree. Ooh, uppercut. Okay, Dricus should not try to get too close like that, because that is where Izzy was really dangerous with Poatan. Right? He cocks back and then boom. Low kick by Dricus. Ooh. A little less than a minute left into the regulation rounds right now as we enter. Yeah, it's a close fight, Savachi Financial. For sure it is. But this one you'd have to give to Izzy because of the fact that Dricus wasn't able to complete a takedown. Now, had he completed a takedown, for sure, man, I would have given it to Dricus all the way. Yeah, round 3, I think, is going to be the closest of this right here. Shout out to the 15 people that are tapped in from around the world right now. Watching is 16 people now. And approximately maybe 300 people that have tapped in to this live stream so far. An improv 2 live stream, mind you. Never had any plans of doing this tonight, but I figured, hey, hop in. And next thing you know, here we are. We are now going to be in the championship rounds of it all. He's so tough, which is sort of an excuse. He's such a hard worker, right? Yeah, it's sort of an excuse that they give to the losers of the fight that sort of try to grind their way into victory or try to grind their way into a respectable defeat of some sort. But look at Dricus right now, a little busted up. Let's take a look at how Israel Adesanya's face looks right now in between the rounds. So Israel Adesanya's demeanor, very strong in a way where he's just standing. He's trying to show a certain cardio dominance in his body language by doing this. Is it helpful to stand in between rounds? You know what? I say that it is, because if you're sparring in the gym, this is literally what you do. Whether you're a boxer, an MMA fighter, a kickboxer, this is literally how you stand in between rounds. You don't normally sit down. But if you do, then, I mean, there are instances of that, but there are a lot of instances where you stand in between, especially when you switch up partners on the grappling mat, when you are doing sparring MMA sessions in a grappling mat. So here we go, round 4, 450, 449, and Israel Adesanya still opening up with a jab, and Dricus du Plessis is sort of doing the rinse and repeat with lunging right in. But credit to both men, because they are doing exactly what they are known to do, which is what? Being very confusing. Look at this, switching stances. But look at Dricus right now, shooting for the takedown, and Israel Adesanya stuffs it, and Israel Adesanya dares him to get up while he is continuously stuffing these takedowns, which, by the way, could be a game changer right here in the championship rounds as we speak. Here we go, front kick by Israel Adesanya. As I've mentioned earlier, I've seen Dan Hooker implement this in his fight, and why would Israel Adesanya not implement the same type of fighting style? I had mentioned about the stance switching. Not only that, the front kicks, and Israel Adesanya is doing all of those things in order to sort of control the range and the distance to where he is comfortable fighting at. Sorry, I had to drink water there because you know how it is. I give you guys the best play-by-play and the most knowledgeable information that I could give you as I'm giving you a play-by-play. So, yeah. Needed a little break there to sort of freshen up. But here we go. Little jab action between them right now. 309, 307, 306 in the 4th round. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we are witnessing another epic fight in this channel, because this is what we do. We witness the most epic fights there is in the world. MMA, boxing, and everything in between. Mostly MMA, but of course, I seem to do a lot of good views in boxing videos as well. I urge you guys to check it out. My Canelo videos, my Ryan Garcia videos, all of that. All the top boxers. And even Callum Walsh, I had a few thousand K views covering his fight. Callum Walsh, the Irish boxer that is signed with the UFC Fight Pass. And right now, Israel Adesanya is doing a very good job of mitigating danger, fighting the fight the way that he wants to. And keep in mind, Dricus du Plessis did a very good job of neutralizing ground efforts against Israel Adesanya earlier in the fight. But right now, with 2 minutes left in the 4th round, we are witnessing a very different game. And we are witnessing a much more fresher Israel Adesanya in terms of the striking, but still vulnerable in the grappling exchanges. Although, oh, look at this. He got rocked. He got rocked by Dricus out of nowhere. Oh, he rocked him. He rocked him, and now he took him down. All right, now he took his back. What is this? Oh, wow. He's looking for a rear. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. He's got it. He tapped. He tapped. He tapped. Dricus made him tap. Dricus made him tap. I cannot believe it. Dricus had just made him tap. Dricus made him tap. Dricus made him tap. I cannot believe this, ladies and gentlemen. Dricus made him tap. This right here is the most epic moment ever in the history of the 185 division. Dricus made him tap. Now, how would this fight have looked if he had not made him tap? But you know what? This is why I told you, this is what makes Dricus extremely dangerous. What makes Dricus extremely dangerous is the fact that he has fitness levels that are beyond the understanding of modern combat. He trains in a way that is unique, that is different. Belts going back to Africa. Langford Verlum, yes, ye. Look at the comments on this one. Everybody's happy on this one. Everybody, write on the comments. Flood the comments right now and tell me how you're feeling about this particular fight. I'm very surprised by this. Fists in the air from Savachi Financial. Dricus went after the finish. You know what? We could have gotten a 5th round on this one, but you know what? We didn't, and here we go. Wow. Oh. It was those hooks right there as he was sort of circling into the cage, and then as he got him down, white men can't jump. Shout out to Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, a classic video, classic movie at that. Back in the days where you had to go rent that in some kind of Blockbuster, or Izzy Got Lebanon. Oh, he did indeed. He did indeed. Wow. Wow, yeah. This was all right. So as this one ends right here, we're gonna end this live stream after they announce the winner on this one right here, and let's see what he has to say in his post-fight reaction, and then we'll go from here. But everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe as we are witnessing the final moments of UFC 305 right now. Izzy is on the camera right now. He's saying thank you. He said, I've slipped. I made a mistake, but I'll be back. All right, here we go. Dricus du Plessis finally gets the win. And a shown of sportsmanship between the two men. Is he about to cry a river? Oh, yeah. Cry a river. That's right. That's why I wrote exactly that on my thumbnail. Still knocks. There it is. Congratulations to Dricus du Plessis in getting the title and taking it back to Africa. Rightfully so in his claim that he had made. So here we go. Let's hear what he has to say with Daniel Cormier. Who put the belt on him? I believe it was Sean Shelby, or one of the matchmakers, or the president of the South Pacific of the UFC of some sort. So he said that he did a good job, I guess, of the takedown defense, and he said ultimately this fight needed to be won on the feet, and that's exactly what he did. So he said this was the best atmosphere that he's ever fought in. All right, so now they're looking at the highlights. Boom. Hook over the head. Izzy feels it. Boom. So as soon as he hits him, while he's behind him with those overhand rights, gets him down, takes his back. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. He about to take that belt to the Mufti Mink. That would be an interesting content right there. Drickus continues to make a 0 sense. Sean Al-Shadi says, the MMA journalist, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Because, again, fitness and strong attributes don't make sense in a world where we try to make sense of technical efficiencies and technical deficiencies. So that's really what it comes down to. So big ups to Israel Adesanya for trying and having a lot of good rounds there, but ultimately it's Drickus du Plessis' night regardless. He said, I just shared this octagon with a legend. He said, this man, Izzy needs a new pup. Huh. He said, tonight Africa won regardless. Okay. He says he's got the utmost respect for him, warrior to warrior. Okay, they're shaking hands right now. Let's see if DC talks to Izzy. He said he just wants another stone, which is basically what they didn't hug though. Basically a stone, yeah. Just what they give you after you defend your belt. So there it is. Great job on Drickus du Plessis. And yeah, this is great. We're going to end this stream on the 100-minute mark. So here's DC right now talking to Israel Adesanya. We'll listen to this, react to it, and we'll call it a night. Strickland don't deserve it. Yeah. He said he felt strong. He felt resilient. He said he done a stupid mistake on the ground. Izzy's going to retire. Let's see. Channel 3. Izzy needs to retire now. He's just ain't that strong no more. Yeah. I mean, considering that he's had, like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of fights, right? You know, at some point, that becomes detrimental to your performance at some point, right? You can only have so much wars in you in your lifetime. He said he didn't think this far. Israel Adesanya says he's not leaving. So what that means is that I think Israel Adesanya is going to fight one more time and get a win. Leave with a win. I think that's what he is looking to do, is leave with a win. So exactly, all that wear and tear on your body. Maybe he can fight Jake Paul in a boxing match and cash out and possibly even win. Yeah, well, you know what? After tonight, I don't know if I'm that confident in how Izzy would do in the boxing department with Jake Paul, to be honest with you. I'm just being honest. Yeah, I don't think that would do him any good. But on any regard, thank you for all those that have tapped in with me from around the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next content to come, whether it's a live stream whether it's a video, live stream, and videos. I do it all, inshallah. He should run it back with Costa. That would be a good fight between him and Costa. But anyways, guys, that's all that we have. I will see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe. Where's Vittori? Vittori is floating around somewhere in the 185 division, being a squatter. You know how that goes. Yeah, another one of those squatter things. But we got Cannonier, Barallo, Brady, and Burns. That's a good one. And then obviously the Noche card. That's a good one. Oh, and Grasso. Okay, Moicano and Saint Denis. All right, so we got some good fights along the way. So, all right, everyone, like and subscribe. Thank you for all those that have tapped in. That's all that I got for tonight. And we will end this in the 103-minute mark in 10 seconds. So, Bilal's leftovers. There it is. And on that note, like and subscribe.